Can you start by telling us kind of what time this happened and what the initial call was for and everything?
The initial call came in as a structure fire or structure alarm. That's the way we got into dispatch. It came in around shift change. It was about 6:15 in the morning. Our initial company on scene was truck 3 and realized that it was not a structure fire and it was a vehicle fire, which was promptly put out by the first arriving unit.
Do you know who called it in? Was it a passerby or something?
I do not.
And what can you tell us about the occupants of the cars?
We have 3 people that were transported to the hospital.
What's the status of their injuries? Do you know at this
I
point?
do not know.
They're alive, responsive?
My understanding, they were alive when they left the scene. I believe they still are at this point.
And what can you tell us about what we're looking at? I mean, it looks like a lot of other things got impacted. There's a pole that came down. Are there people without power or any other things going on?
Correct. So right now I'll tell you this, that the area is secure, all the electrical and all the gas is secure. The electrical for the building was affected. It is in this area, it is shut down right now by Eversource. The gas to the building has been shut down by CNG, and the building is safe and secure at this point. Our building department has been through it, and they deemed it still habitable.
And those other cars, that other car didn't have anything to do with it? It just happened to be there, or?
No, the other car that's up against the building was parked on Darcy Street.
So which direction was the car traveling, and at this point, do you have any idea what may have happened?
Well, that would be something for PD, but from my understanding, the car was traveling northbound on New Park Ave.
And was this connected to a pursuit, or are you unable to?
I couldn't tell you that. You would have to speak with PD for that.
Talk about the priorities when it comes to the fact that it's my understanding people were in this home.
Correct.
What are your folks doing kind of on scene in the immediate moment, kind of assessing that situation?
Well, as with any emergency incident with the fire department, life safety is our first priority. So as the first arriving unit got on scene, they made sure that the fire was put out. They tried to secure the area as best as possible. They made their way inside the building and made sure that the occupants of the building were safe.
And it was, my understanding is that the multifamily home was evacuated?
Yes.
Were there children in the car? What can you tell us about the 3 occupants?
I can't give any more information than that. I just know that there was 3 occupants in the vehicle.
And so the people in the house were evacuated, but they've been let back in, or what's happening there?
I am unsure at this point. Our building department is still working with our social services department on making sure that those people are taken care of.
Okay, so for right now, they cannot stay in the house.
The building, from our building department, said that the building is safe for them to occupy, but as you can see, there's quite a bit of damage to the windows on the outside of the building, so they're making arrangements with the building owner to get repairs done to the building as soon as possible.
We see Eversource here. They've been up in their tower trucks, lines clearly down. What is the risk that you're kind of monitoring from that front, and what do you do to see that things don't get worse?
At this point, with Eversource on scene, we've turned all the electrical problems over to them, so they've secured the scene by shutting the power down in the area. Once the power is shut down and there's no longer any hazard, the fire department has turned the scene over to Eversource for the electrical. We've turned the scene over to CNG for all the gas control.
And
so,
I'm sorry.
No,
And I
go ahead.
understand this is probably a question for police, but do you have any idea when the road might reopen?
I do not.
Okay.
It depends on when their investigation is complete.
I mean, you guys respond to situations every day
Mm-hmm.
for a career. Put that scene into context for me.
In what context?
Like your reaction to what you see and kind of the state of those vehicles.
Well, the state of the vehicles, obviously, they're damaged quite heavily. Our concern is for obviously the safety of the people in the vehicle, and in order to get them out of the vehicle and get them transported to a definitive care facility as quickly as we possibly can. That's what our priorities are. Obviously, the life safety of the people inside the vehicles.
Folks at home are looking at that scene saying, how on earth did your crew get anyone out of those cars to begin with? What was that process like?
Well, to be quite honest with you, the police officers that arrived on scene, since the car was on fire, the police officers that were here prior to our arrival actually got the people out of the vehicles. They were able to get the people out through the doors.
So you know public safety. I mean, we talk about real-life heroes, but those folks approaching a burning vehicle to get people inside, under down power lines, at a home with gas, that's some significant risk.
That is a significant risk. That's not something that we would tell anybody that's in the public to do. We're specifically trained to be able to evaluate situations like this. All of our officers, all of our firefighters are trained to be able to deal with situations like this.
Training is one thing. The fact that they did it, what does that say about the men and women who are on the front lines of keeping the city safe?
I have the highest amount of respect for our brother firefighters and police officers. They do a job that a lot of people would look at and say, that's a tough job to do, and they go out and do it every single day. So.
Are you able to say which hospital the victims were taken to?
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
I noticed you saw some damage to the roof. Was there a dish up there that ripped off?
That was a tire.
What was it?
One of the tires from the car hit the roof.
Oh my God.
No.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're all